Attention to detail goes a long way. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most historically inaccurate costumes in movies.
Hey, like those braces?
I guess they're alright.
For this list, we'll be looking at incorrect designs and anachronisms rather than production errors in films. Russell Crowe may be wearing lycra shorts in Gladiator, but since you weren't ever supposed to see them, it's not going to count here. Number 10. Nazi medals, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Well, Marcus, we're on the brink of the recovery of the greatest artifact in the history of mankind.
A lot of care was taken to make the Indiana Jones movies as historically accurate as possible, aside from all the magical artifacts, but a few errors did slip under the radar. While the uniforms the Nazi soldiers wear throughout are genuine and were retrieved from Eastern Europe, a lot of them date from World War II, complete with combat medals and decorations.
You stood up to be counted with the enemy of everything that the Grail stands for. Who gives a damn what you think?
You do! The only problem is that the movie is set in 1938, before the war began, and many of the medals worn hadn't been designed yet, nor had the officers even had the opportunity to win them.
Tickets, please.
Boss.
Number 9. Short Shorts, Dirty Dancing. This iconic movie may be set in the past, but filmmakers just couldn't leave the future behind.
Hey, thanks a lot. You want a job here?
Throughout the romantic drama, Baby can be seen wearing a pair of denim short shorts. We may not think much of this now, but if you wore those shorts in the 60s, you'd get a few strange looks, because jean shorts like these weren't yet in style this early in the decade.
Spaghetti arms! Would you give me some tension, please? You're invading my dance space. This is my dance space, that's yours. Let's cha-cha.
The movie came out in the 80s, and jorts only really started to gain popularity in the 70s at the earliest. So having Baby wearing them is an anachronism. That, or she's just invented a popular trend way too early. Though it's hard to stay mad when Baby's fashion sense has endured so well.
That little wimp, he would know a new idea if it hit him in the pachanga. He wanted some new ideas, I could have told him some new ideas.
Well, why did you let him talk to you that way?
What do you mean, fight the boss man?
Yeah, tell him your ideas.
Number 8. French hoods, the other Boleyn girl. Any Tudor historian would be able to unleash a barrage of criticism on this movie's historical accuracy, such as the fact Anne Boleyn is more commonly accepted to be the younger sibling.
I have your interest at heart.
Why? Why this cruelty?
But in the costume department, the biggest offender is the French hoods, incorrectly worn in many scenes.
And after he's finished with me, my reputation and prospects will be ruined.
The purpose of a French hood was to hide most of a woman's hair, except for a bit of the front, with an attached veil. In The Other Boleyn Girl, the French hoods become glorified headbands that show off the hair that they're intended to hide.
Do you think he'll like me?
Of course he will, sister. How could he not?
But bizarrely, sometimes they do get it right, making you wonder why they chose to be wrong so frequently.
He must have seen in her some talent he knew would please me.
Number 7. Wellington Boots, Pride and Prejudice. Considering Lizzie Bennet often goes for walks outside, sometimes in the rain and mud, it only makes sense for her to wear a practical pair of shoes, like waterproof Wellington boots. Unfortunately, the movie is set around 1790, while the book was set and published in the 1810s.
Kitty, what have I told you about listening at the door?
Wellington boots weren't really popularized until the first Duke of Wellington, whom they're named for, defeated Napoleon at Waterloo in 1815. After that, they did become a popular choice in sensible footwear for the aristocracy. But Elizabeth simply would not have owned a pair if the movie were accurate. Even Jane Austen, who died in 1817, probably didn't have a pair either.
Let's say that.
Why ever not?
Jane. I've been so blind.
Number 6. Bare Legs, Pearl Harbor.
Welcome, ladies. Hi.
Michael Bay's epic war movie might be about a pivotal moment in American history, but that didn't stop him from taking liberties with the accuracy of what was put on screen. One of the chief offenders is that none of the women in the film are ever wearing stockings. Going out with bare legs would not have been done in the 1940s, even if you were in Hawaii's tropical climate. In fact, women depended on nylon stockings so much that there were riots over stocking shortages due to rationing in the mid-40s, when 40,000 women in Pittsburgh fought over 13,000 pairs of stockings. They were even sold on the black market. The women in Pearl Harbor just would not have gone without.
Oh, don't lie. All I know is I hear you crying when you think I'm asleep.
Number 5. Zippers. Amadeus.
Is it not good?
It is miraculous.
This dramatization of the life of Mozart plays fast and loose with the truth, including the rivalry between Mozart and Salieri. They were friends in real life.
Do you mean it?
But the costuming is far from perfect too, which is an even bigger crime when you consider the movie won the Oscar for Best Costume Design in 1985.
Why? What has happened?
You don't know what it's like.
They certainly don't hold up a few decades later. But even if you don't have a background in costuming, you'll still be able to spot zippers in a few scenes, which weren't invented until the 1890s, first appearing at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, over 100 years after Mozart's death. Number 4. Corvus's Color, Pompeii. This historical disaster flick may have been largely forgettable, but don't think we missed this glaring error.
Severus, I have a question for you. On my journey from the harbor, I noticed some of your townfolk turn their backs towards me. There wouldn't be some kind of problem with this.
Kiefer Sutherland's Senator Corvus is certainly imposing, but even he wouldn't have dared break a law supposedly laid down by Emperor Nero himself.
I am Senator Quintus Attius Corvus. May the gods grace me to bless your kind hospitality.
You're most welcome, Senator.
As soon as Nero got into power, he made it completely illegal for anyone except the emperor to wear purple, because purple dye was so expensive to produce that it was the ultimate status symbol. If Corvus had really dared to wear purple, you can bet he wouldn't have stayed a senator for long, since, among other things, Nero was famous for elaborate torture methods and was even accused of starting the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. Number 3. The Armor, The Last Samurai. It's clear that they paid a lot of attention to history while making The Last Samurai, though there are aspects that remain controversial.
Good God.
Notably, the samurai are shown to be opposed to the westernization of Japan because they see it as harming Japanese culture, which in reality they didn't like their power being taken away.
What does it say?
I belong to the warrior in whom the old ways have joined the new.
The samurai weren't as tied to tradition as they seem in the movie, and the armor they and Tom Cruise wear during the final battle had already been abandoned a long time ago because it didn't offer protection against guns. The Japanese, though not necessarily samurais themselves, had been using guns for centuries by the 1870s, just like in this climactic battle.
You have your honor again. Let me die with mine.
Number 2. Sunglasses, Django Unchained.
Bright day, huh, bright boy?
Sun is up.
Shining on all of us.
The unique sunglasses Django dons might look cool, but unfortunately they didn't exist in 1858 when the movie's set. While there were primitive attempts to make eyewear that protected from the sun in the early 20th century, they weren't mass-produced until 1929, and familiar styles like Django's wouldn't have cropped up until years later.
You got a problem with your eyeball, boy? No, sir. You want a boot heel in it? No, sir. You keep your goddamn eyeballs off me.
However, this is far from a mistake, but an intentional anachronism on costume designer Sharon Davis's part, and serves as a reference to the distinct sunglasses Wild Bill Hickok sports in The White Buffalo. When Tarantino later found out that the sunglasses were part of spaghetti western history, he loved it.
You mind telling me what the hell you doing?
It's always crazy to me to find out these minute details. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
I got beat up in that alley. And that parking lot. And behind that diner.
Ladies and gentlemen, stop that girl! That girl running up the aisle, stop her! That's the girl whose voice you heard and loved tonight. She's the real star of the picture, Kathy Selden!
Du fool! Du krasser wire with death!
What wire?
This wire! The warning wire!
Thick sieves, I sifted. 7 thick.
Stop that, darling. No.
Listen, I have to keep doing this. It's your fault.
Vic is a Zeppelin fan.
Right, I picked that up.
He tours with them, but not, with them.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Kilts and Woad, Braveheart.
I am William Wallace. And I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny.
Described as one of the most historically inaccurate movies ever made, there are a lot of issues with Braveheart. But the offense that concerns us here is William Wallace's trademark outfit, a messy combination of things that were already outdated and other things that didn't exist yet.
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Kilts, for instance, might be emblematic of Scottish culture, but they weren't invented for some 400 years after Wallace's death. Meanwhile, the woad, or blue face paint, hadn't been used for nearly 1,000 years. Julius Caesar described the Celts as painting themselves with woad in the 1st century BC, but modern scholars even question whether he was talking about woad or copper, since woad ink burns the skin.
Where are you going?
I'm going to pick a fight.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.